Hello, humans that have not yet been flattened into 2 dimensions. I am Patrick Smith. This is Disenthrall. Today, I'm here with my partner in victimless crime, Kason. What are you wearing now?
So we talk about a lot of really serious and heavy and sometimes sad topics because most of the government is evil and, you know, we talk about that sort of stuff. So I thought I'd bring some holiday cheer in July, Christmas in July. Baby.
Your hat says naughty.
Santa cat.
Nice. Oh my God. Okay, all right. So today's story is serious and sad. So
If you get sad, look at me, you know, and I'll make you feel better.
okay, all right. Police kill man with bulldozer over 10 marijuana plants. That is the headline. And I wanted to highlight this story because just like we talked about in the last video, it points out the very real gun behind every law, even about certain forms of vegetation. Pennsylvania State we'll get to it. Pennsylvania State Police killed a man with a bulldozer over a 10-plant marijuana grow operation on state lands in Burt County. The man's death was likely an accident, if you could call this situation an accident. But it highlights how recklessly and foolishly police have perpetrated the drug war, even as Americans want to pull back. On July 9, a state worker on a bulldozer was clearing out some brush to improve hunters' access to state lands. He saw a suspicious car off the road and called the cops. When law enforcers came out to investigate, the Reading Eagle reports they found those 10 marijuana plants. They also found 2 men, David Light, 54, and Gregory Longenecker, 51. Light surrendered to police immediately. Longenecker ran. The police called in a helicopter to follow Longenecker, but because 10 weeds. But they lost him in the dense brush of the state lands. A trooper jumped onto the bulldozer and used it with the state worker to try and chase the grower. What do you reckon the top speed of a high-speed bulldozer is?
10 miles an hour?
10, 15, yeah. What happens next is a little vague. What happens next is a little vague.
Highlight this.
Yeah, I got to. Because this is how it always is. Thanks to police spokespeople's propensity, and good on reason for pointing this out, what happens next is a little vague thanks to police spokespeople's propensity to describe events in ways that leave out any sort of clear cause-effect relationship. They do this because they don't ever want to admit that they might be wrong or evil. But according to state police spokesman David Boehm, the bulldozer was clearing a path through the underbrush when the state trooper on the bulldozer told the worker to stop. They then looked behind the bulldozer and saw Longenecker's body. Surprisingly, the subsequent autopsy determined that Longenecker died of traumatic injuries. At the time of his death, the spokesperson had tried to float the possibility that maybe the man died of a heart attack prior to being run over by a bulldozer. Presumably, the terror of having a bulldozer bearing down on him, about to run him over, caused Longenecker to have a heart attack and die right before the bulldozer flattened him.
So either way, they're responsible. Heart attack or flattening. 100%.
Yeah. But Boehm, the spokesman, also told the Eagle that police did not think Longenecker's death was the result of police pursuit. So he would have just sort of fell over and flattened himself had they not come out there to get all fascist over some vegetation. He insisted they were just trying to locate him by commandeering a bulldozer and sending it racing into the brush while a helicopter hovered. I'm just trying to picture this pursuit like an asshole on a bulldozer. Go get him, let's go! Charging into the bush while a freaking helicopter is looking for this guy over some plants. This is insane. We simply cannot, this is a normal statement, we simply cannot understand how a man is dead over an investigation involving 10 cannabis plants. The whole investigation was ridiculous. I've seen law enforcement take down major heroin traffickers that haven't engaged in this level of aggression. Oh, the officer's on paid vacation. That's what that means. And they charged the guy that didn't run with felony accounts of drug possession with intent to deliver and conspiracy to possess drugs with intent to deliver, as well as drug possession, possession of a small amount of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, and criminal trespass. $25,000 bail. Suck it. So that's the story.
I can't even get over that. It's clearly not because of the police pursuit, even though immediately following the police pursuit, there's a flattened human being in our wake. But that wasn't me.
Yeah. In every aftermath of anything bad happening, you will notice police speak like that. The officer's weapon discharged, and later the person was discovered dead with a bullet in them. Like, that's how they describe a situation, rather than saying, officer asshole shot the person, whatever. The officer shot the guy. Rather than saying that, they use this ambiguous, stupid language. Does this work on people? It must if they do it, right? Why would they do it if it didn't work? I don't know. It's cowardly. It tells me that they on their insides know that what they did was wrong, so they can't talk about it in legitimate language. If they knew what they did was okay, then they would just say what they did, right?
We were chasing this vile, evil man.
Yeah.
And as a result of it, we ran him over. But you know what? He was a murdering, rapist, assaulting thief. So that means we're justified.
Yeah, so we
for that,
flattened
I'd be
him.
like, hey, you go kill people, you rape people, you're going to get that. That's just what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, don't
But
rape
it's
people.
like,
We won't flatten you with a
He had
bulldozer.
a plant.
Yeah.
So Patrick, walk me through the anarchist ethics of smoking marijuana. What are the ethics here?
There are no ethics beyond you own yourself. You choose what you do with your property. Your body is part of your property. If you want to put a plant in it, in any orifice, burned or otherwise, it's your business. No one has the right to tell you what to do with your property, as long as you're using it peacefully. If you're hurting somebody with your property, if you're taking your weed stalks and beating people over the head with it, now you're causing problems. Now somebody can have something to say about it and use force to stop you. It's immoral to chase people through the brush with helicopters and bulldozers, crushing them over plants that weren't hurting anyone. The only objection I can already hear people in the comments saying ahead of time is, it was on public land. It wasn't his private property. Well, public land is ethically equivalent to unowned land, because the institution, the group of people called the government that claims ownership of it coercively. And in doing so, in possessing it in violation of consent, by taxing it, by eminent domaining it, by claiming it with guns paid for with stolen money called taxes, they own it invalidly. So it is invalidly claimed and occupied land. So it doesn't really change the ethics for me. If anything, the people, by planting it and using that land, homesteaded it, and it actually belonged to them rightfully if it was previously unowned. So that's the best I can.
So let's run an experiment here. I have here my special pipe.
Okay.
And if I put inside this, we'll play a game, okay? I'm going to put a mysterious substance inside of it. We'll call it Substance A and smoke it.
It's okay. All right.
And then I put Substance B in it and smoke it. One of those, according to the state, I can be killed for. And the other one, according to the state, I cannot do unless I'm over the age of 18. What is there is no ethical difference. There is no actual difference between me smoking marijuana or smoking tobacco, or smoking nothing at all, because this is, impossibly thin. It just amazes me whenever I talk with people on the street, because I'm not a purveyor of drugs. That's not really interesting to me, but I absolutely would advocate that you own your body, you own the effects of your body. If you want to do that to your own body and you're not harming anybody, you know what? You do you, boo. I like vanilla frosting on a birthday cake. Not everybody likes that. They like reefer inside of a pipe. Not for everybody.
Some people like dressing like like a naughty Santa Claus in the middle of 110-degree Texas summer too. Oh, God. All right.
Just trying to make everybody a little bit happier.
I mean,
also, we're
joking a lot.
I'm on a green screen, but
we're joking a lot.
We are joking a lot, but somebody
about
is
a very
dead.
serious
There is
story.
a dead man. There is a dead man involved in this.
A murdered man.
And it's just crazy that people.
Like
a murdered man, not just a dead man. Yeah, let's ascribe some agency. Murdered by whoever was in the field. Did it say who was in the field, or just the guy that started with a B, Bachman or whatever? He's just the spokesman.
No, it just says Pennsylvania State Police killed a man. So a group of people did an action in the world. That's another thing. Maybe if
non-individual, a collective, a group, something that has no agency. And the kicker is they're going to come back next year the next fiscal year, they're going to say, look, we kept this many drugs off the streets, so therefore we need this much money to stay in operation, and we're going to take it out of your wallets by force. If you don't understand the whole by force argument, check the previous video where we talked about the school shooting video game simulator. Patrick goes through a beautiful little a line of logic that proves unequivocally that any law that's passed has a gun behind it to enforce it. And so they're going to take this money, and let's say that they don't meet their quota of drugs to remove from the street. There's too many people going on the street. Well, they're going to come back and they're going to say, we're underfunded. We need more of your money to do it. So either way, they're like a cancer. They're going to take more money from a largely disarmed population. They're going to commit more infractions of morality on people. They're going to violate more property rights against people. It's absolutely insane. I would go so far to say that it is, in fact, quite naughty.
Evil. It's evil. Yeah, and
okay,
that is another thing that the police do, as well as using ambiguous language for what actually happened, is that they try and downplay or hide or, as much as possible, not point out the particular officer that took the action. They talk as if they're a group, a collective of people that sort of act together, and they are the law, which gives agency to an inanimate concept. I just like to, even Reason didn't point out, because I don't know why, but they don't point out the ethics of the situation, that a murder took place. Why can we call that a murder and not just, an interaction with the police that ended undesirably? Well, because what happened was that police, a human walked onto somebody's how do we describe this? What happened was a human entered a situation that he had no business in. He, based on the existence of vegetation, chased and hunted down and crushed to death a guy who hurt no one, created no victims. All he did was grow some plants. Growing plants isn't a crime. And by crime, I mean doesn't create victims. If it doesn't create victims, it's not a crime. It might be against the law, but it's not a crime. You can't hurt somebody or control them or take them or attack them or crush them with a bulldozer when you're not hurting anyone. You're minding your own business, doing your own thing with your own resources. It's murder. When you attack peaceful people, when you attack people that have hurt no one, that aren't invading person or property, hurting person or property, then whatever happens out of that situation, be it crushing or otherwise, is on you. The culpability, the moral culpability is on that enforcer, that law enforcer. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I would just encourage people that if they see articles like this, to submit them in the content submission form linked below. Like us on the Patreon, chip in, or if you have other ways to contribute, like some fashion design ideas, let me know. But until next time.